Alright, hello everyone. Got some Tyranids here that I'm starting to work on. Just recently acquired some nids for a really great price, so I'm going to start kind of working through the huge hoard. You know, I guess one step at a time, just kind of getting them ready. Don't know exactly what we're going to do with them, but kind of know where to start. So today we're going to kind of do, these are some of the pewter models, some of the easier pewter models, some Zoranthropes, Hive Guard, and then I got a couple really old original Space Hulk gene stealers in there that I'm going to do some cleaning, you know, a little tiny bit of cleanup, and then today I'm going to base coat them and do the first stages of the underpainting. So enjoy. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out the blog, shotdownmine.blogspot.com, and if you're not a member of 40K Nation, go become a member. 40K Nation, 40knation.com. Thanks again, everyone. So what I have here is I have the Tyranid guys base coated black. I also have a high elf guy on a griffin. So next stage is I'm gonna do the first. You know, this is all part of the primering, technically, primer process. So I've got black primer all over the whole model, especially on the underside. Make sure that the underside got a really good coat, because the underside is going to basically stay black, probably forever. You know, maybe some of the undersides will get painted as part of the effects, etc. But for the most part, the bottom of the model, the underneaths of everything, will pretty much stay this black color. So the next stage is to basically go over most of the model with gray, about 70% of the model. Leaving pretty much the 30% underside not painted with the gray, and then that'll dry quickly, and as soon as that's done, we'll go over about 30% of the model, the very top portion with white primer. So this is the primer process, or the underpainting process. Technically they're primered now. They got some black paint over their pewter. But we're going to put some gray and some white on there also to basically establish the underpainting for the most part. I'm going to put some blue and some brown in there also. Maybe not some blue, but definitely some brown as part of the underpainting. So there's step 2. Thanks again for watching. What I've done here on the Tyranids and the Eagle is they've been hit with black primer, then gray primer, and then white primer. So my gray videos didn't turn out that well, so we'll kind of skip right over to the white. But I think you can probably see what's going on here already. We'll try and get some close-ups, and I'll take some pictures too. So when the video goes up, we can put the pictures on the blog at the same time. But let's see if we can get in on some of these guys. You can see what I'm talking about, or why I'm doing this. And I think you can see it right here on his hide. You can definitely see the color gradient from white to gray, to a darker, maybe not exactly black from this angle. But we turn one of these guys over, and it's black inside there. So you can see the shading, and even a lot of the highlights, depending on what kind of painting techniques you use to get the paint down on these models, is kind of already installed, so to speak. So that's why I do this. I really feel like the underpainting process saves you a lot of time later, and if it doesn't change your painting technique entirely because of the time saved, it'll probably just change your painting technique just in general, because a lot of what you're trying to do with the brush is already installed here. This isn't even, I wouldn't even say that this is the best job, because so much of it gets painted over. I want to make sure to give a shout out to Obsidian Painting. You can check out some of his videos, and I'm sure you'll find a couple in there where he talks about his glazing technique, glazing method, which is that's where we're going with this. Is You know, it doesn't have to be glazing or inking or whatever you want to call it. But, you know, the bottom line, the point of all this is that through just the primer process, I've kind of already installed most of the highlights, most of the really basic highlights, and almost all the shading as far as what you would do with a brush. You know, there's still going to be inking, and, you know, some of these models might be painted entirely with, you know, paint that's of an ink-like consistency. So that's what it's for. This is what it looks like. I'll get some pictures. I'll switch up the background to a black also, so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Basically with the color gradient, you know. And so this isn't the finish of the underpainting. In some cases it would be, you know, a black to gray to white underpainting color gradient is kind of the basic underpainting idea. And I kind of take it to just another level, because what you have with white to gray to black is you have three colors, you know, blended into each other. So you have a nice gradient. But we can put some more colors in there, like brown, down towards the bottom of the miniatures, or blue towards the top of the miniatures. And it doesn't have to be those colors, because those two colors might not actually show up on your finished project. The colors that you use would matter on what colors you plan to finish with, what colors you want to show up, you know. So if you're working in the yellows, blue works really well underneath the yellow to create another color gradient beyond black, white, and gray. Because once you put some yellow over blue, it doesn't show as blue anymore, and it doesn't even necessarily show as green. It just shows as a color gradient, as a change, you know, from the darker to the lighter. So, and the same thing with the brown. You know, the brown at the bottom of the base. You know, it's kind of a realism type thing, but it also just adds another level of color gradient, because once you start painting over the base coat, the underpainting here, with acrylic paints, you know, even if you paint over the brown with some kind of color that's not going to show up as brown when you're done, underneath that acrylic paint, you're still going to see the color gradient show through. And so that's what I'm doing with these videos. I'm going to actually show you that, because a lot of people don't actually see that with their eye. It's, you know, it's one of those artistic things that it's real easy to kind of enjoy the finished project, but maybe envisioning the actual process to get there is not exactly easy. So anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. This is part 1. Part 2, we'll get into some of the other colors and actually do some inking or glazing or painting, whatever you want to call it, with some you know, really light acrylic paints right over this underpainting, and kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about. You know, you can look at a lot of the models I painted. A lot of them are in videos, and I've used this process, this type of process, in almost everything I've done lately, in the last year maybe. So check it out. Thanks again for watching. Check out the blog, shutdownmind.blogspot.com, and we'll be back to you real soon with some updates. Get some paint on these guys. Thanks again.